I found this in Gunner room. Gunner mirror. What is it? Oh, it's
Synthaholics.
Welcome to Synthaholics, guys. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
Aaron O'Brien.
And we have special guests today. Pete, the angry geek, grumpy geek.
The grumpy geek.
Like I said last time, I'm contractually obligated to get things wrong when I introduce them.
I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't call me angry, no.
Just grumpy.
Just grumpy. From the Geekiverse.
I'm like all five of the seven dwarfs rolled into one. Definitely sneezy,
the dopey geek,
and dopey. Yeah,
I'm just horny.
Well, it's just whenever
he was the eighth dwarf. They didn't let him out very often.
They locked him out in the rain, especially when Snow White was around.
Go take a cold shower.
Keep him away from Snow White. My God, man,
she's innocent. She just eats strange fruits from old people.
So, Pete, let's just dig into a little bit what you're into. So, we were talking a little bit before the show what your projects are, which seems to be many.
Yeah.
Why don't you lay out a few for our listeners to know what you're up to?
And the biggest is the Geekiverse.com. There's got a staff of about 15 people, and we have written content, video content, audio content. We're growing by leaps and bounds. Our YouTube channel, we've got a couple hundred videos now and
awesome.
20,000 views. So we're making some strides.
And it's all things geek, right? It's everything.
Indeed, all things geek. And
superheroes.
Yeah, we do. We've got a new guy. He was actually on before I joined along, and now he's back, and he's covering all the superhero TV stuff.
Okay.
And because I'm the old guy, I do things like write book reviews.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I enjoy that part.
Yeah, we actually met at the Buffalo Comic Con, and if you heard our Buffalo Comic Con episode, you heard Pete on that episode.
I was. That was exciting.
Yeah, and actually that was a fun episode to hear. Actually, I wasn't there, of course, but it was fun.
I'm not sure how we managed without you, Aaron.
I can imagine. I imagine it went well, and everyone had fun. Unlike now,
there was an audience of none.
We had a good time, and we met the Artful Gremlins guys, and the way I messed them up is I called them the Artful Geeks. So you're in good company.
Contractually obligated to screw it up. Well done.
It's just
it's the alcohol.
Yeah. Well, at first it makes it all go away.
We are talking about this episode, the Next Generation episode Unification.
Pete wanted to do this episode. This is season 5, and it's episodes 7 and 8, and it came out in November 1991.
1991 is true.
Because it opens with Gene Roddenberry's years of his life, because he had passed away.
Passed away, right.
Although he died in late October, so they must have
just tagged
those
on.
back in here and put that on the front side, because
right.
he had died a week before, or a week, 8
the
days
game
before
came out and he had passed away. I guess it was too far done for them to be able to get that back and put it on the front of the game. And it's probably better that they used it for a 2-part episode. That way you see it twice.
Yeah, no, and for sure. So this is obviously a great episode because we get Spock that comes in and does the whole, as you were saying before, the crossover, which is awesome to see one of the older characters come in and be a prominent role.
Not only do we get Spock, we got Sarek, Mark Leonard.
Yeah, right. And
it's the second time we see Mark Leonard in TNG.
Well, and if you think about it, really, Leonard Nimoy is kind of the thread that holds everything together.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was in three different properties or 4 different properties, something like that.
Right.
Obviously the original series, and then he showed up in this, and then he shows up in the
reboots.
The reboots,
right?
And nobody is more deserving of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Than him, you know?
We I don't know if it was our second episode when we talked about Leonard Nimoy when his passing. And
yeah, it was the second episode.
we were, and the one thing I kind of like was talking about and still hits me is that how long he had time to develop that character. Because if you go back to his portrayal during The Cage, you know, it's pretty different,
Right.
You know, and even not Whom Gods Destroy. What's the one with Gary Mitchell where they become
Where No Man's Gone Before.
Yeah, Where No Man's Gone Before. He's
I
still
hate that episode.
Really, I like that episode. We'll have to talk about that some other
The
time.
barrier of the barrier of the galaxy. What are we in marbles like in freaking Men in Black? Like it's lame,
Dave, you don't
lame
know.
science fiction.
You don't know. You've never been there.
Well, they went to another galaxy just fine in TNG without running into any galactic barriers.
TNG.
Just saying. We're talking about TNG. Don't diss TNG.
All right, so let's get into it before we get into the whole Spock thing and Gordon.
Because we don't see him to the end of the first episode.
All right, so we basically get the very beginning teaser where the Enterprise is pulled to Starbase 234. Very nice writing. And the Admiral...
They couldn't have snuck in a 4-7 in there?
No. And the Admiral tells Picard that basically one of their top ambassadors has gone missing and possibly defected.
He's gone rogue!
Yeah, could possibly have gone to defect to the Romulans. And
did they even look at his character at all in his, I think they say 70 years in Starfleet at this point?
Oh, of all the crazy stuff, like when he stole the Enterprise in Menagerie Part 1 and 2.
That was 70 years ago. No one cares about
stole the
that.
Enterprise from Kirk.
Yeah, he didn't defect then.
Yeah.
That makes him think he's going to defect now.
You could have flown the Enterprise right to Romulus. Here's our secret, boys.
Well, defecting was a thing back then.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is the tail end of the Cold War and the real world and everything. So defecting was a thing.
It was a thing.
You
Yeah,
know?
you're right. Absolutely.
I mean, I know he wasn't like this Czechoslovakian gymnast or anything like that, but,
No.
you know,
I wouldn't put it past Leonard Nimoy, though.
defecting was a thing.
But 91, this was, and I don't know when this was actually filmed, but that was when, the Berlin Wall and all that stuff started happening.
The interesting thing I said to you for 2 seconds before the show is that the date that kind of runs through this thing is the 9th of November.
Mm-hmm.
The Berlin Wall fell on the 9th of November. In 1989.
All right.
So 2 years later,
Oh, 2 years later.
Right, the 9th of November of 91.
And this will
the
be
second
November
part of
8th.
this episode.
I'm thinking of the actual demise of the Soviet Union. That was in 91.
Yeah, like a few weeks after this.
Okay, right.
Like early December, I think, is
Okay.
when the Soviet Union crashed.
Okay, right. So maybe there's deeper meanings for this.
Well, I'm kind of certain of that all the way through. Like Star Trek has been very good at dealing with world issues all the way through.
Yeah, no, it's been
You know what I mean?
amazing that they always have these reflections in real life, and maybe you don't consciously think about it, but there is meaning behind all that. So,
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, no, I mean, great writing from the very first script on.
Oh, absolutely.
Roddenberry is one of my heroes because he tackled issues that we're still tackling today. You know, like that.
Absolutely.
The diversity of that first cast.
Right.
You know, like the first interracial kiss on TV
Right,
and stuff
right,
like that.
right,
You know, like all of that is
you never saw that before, and he had the guts to do it.
Yeah.
You know. It's wonderful. So the defection is a picture of Spock, and so we're left to wonder:
Focus that picture a little bit better. Oh wait,
you
it's
sure
Spock.
that's Spock?
Maybe it's Cybok.
Cybok, his older brother. That turd.
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, I know it was terrible.
That was a terrible movie.
Okay, so from there on, I mean, that's the teaser, and then we get the opening credits. Next, we get the Enterprise goes to planet Vulcan. Picard meets with Sarek's last wife.
Maybe he got married right before he died.
He really just
once you
gets
go
around.
human, you don't go back.
I know. He went for another human wife. It wasn't just
It's like he can outlive them. So I mean, he's probably had like 3 or 4 human wives. It's like
Sarek's thing.
because Cybok was actually from a Vulcan, wasn't from a woman.
Oh yeah. So that before Spock's mom.
So he's at least had 3 wives. I mean, I was
I
doing.
would say 4 or 5 probably.
I'm sure, but a man gets around. For someone who's very logical.
Because that is an illogical thing.
Well,
Clearly, there's not...
if it hasn't worked out for the first 2, maybe you start.
Well, you can cheat on far with a
divorce settlements on Vulcan aren't the same as they are in Hollywood.
The alimony payments aren't that bad, I guess.
He ain't Brad and she ain't Angelina.
Well,
and they don't have good tea on Vulcan apparently. No mint.
No, terrible tea. Tastes like dirt. So Sarek is ill. Obviously, we know that from previous episodes where Sarek showed up, he was suffering from the Bendai syndrome, which basically makes him extremely emotional.
Which he played really kind of well. His emotions were all over the place. It's funny to see.
It's like me on a minute-to-minute basis.
Yeah, right. I'm a teacher, dude.
I can't keep it together. And his wife kind of brings out that there was a definitely big rift between Sarek and Spock during over the Federation Cardassian War. I guess they didn't see eye to eye. So
we don't know much about that history. So
but over and over again, going back to what's the TOS Babylon? I can't remember what it was called.
Journey to Babel.
A Journey to Babel, yeah, where obviously Sarek won't even acknowledge his son.
Nope.
So he's that kind of dad.
It's logical.
You disappoint me.
Stop going playing with your big woolly mammoth in the mountains, son.
Yeah, go out in the mountains.
Don't go out in the mountains. He didn't like it when his son went out in the mountains.
No, he didn't. So we kind of got the setup that basically there was a rift between the 2 characters. And then next thing I want to touch on is that they also find a crashed Ferengi vessel that has
Vulcan parts on it.
Vulcan parts, which they don't know how this even ties in. And this is kind of hard to string along. You're like, what does this have to do with anything? So.
But the Ferengi are one of the greatest characters in Star Trek.
Absolutely.
In Star Trek
Quark is the best.
They're one of the greatest characters.
Their women can't wear clothes.
It's fantastic.
It always rains on their planet. You got to pay them when they come in your house.
Yeah, it
is like
I'm gonna start stat rule. Drop $1 before you walk in.
Yeah.
And say a little chant or whatever it was.
Dropping my teeth is what would happen. You drop $1.
Well, so they have a forensic team working on that Vulcan ship, and Riker and LaForge are looking into that. Then Picard goes to see Sarek. Obviously, we have a great scene with Sarek in bed, suffering from the Bendai syndrome, just losing his mind and going through all sorts of emotional outbursts. And Picard basically gets him talking about Spock and if he thinks that he's actually defected to Romulus, and Sarek says no. But Sarek does say that he did meet a Romulus senator, Praetek, during the Kittimer conference, which was interesting because at the time, Undiscovered Country wasn't to be released for another month.
This is like crazy. It's like the Star Trek spoiling the movie if you're following.
Because I definitely didn't put that together.
But December 2001 is when it came out, and this came out in November.
Yep.
So they obviously knew this was happening.
Well, yeah, but no,
that's great.
According to Memory Alpha, this whole episode is a advertisement for Star Trek 6.
It's awesome.
It's awesome as an advertisement, but if you're watching it, like they're telling you the whole plot of the movie, especially whenever Picard meets Spock and Spock goes over all that.
Would you pick that up and remember that? I mean, unless you're a hardcore fan, then that you were taking notes during every episode.
Yeah, no.
I was a child when this came out, so no, I did not put this together.
I wasn't a child, but
I was a child when this came out. Yeah. I was already married for 10 years.
Well,
that makes me grumpy.
Oh boy! Uh-oh.
Not angry.
Not angry.
It doesn't make me horny, so. Anyways,
I hope not sitting here with two other men, but, you know.
All right. So we go. So basically, it gives him that information, and that he realizes that he has to track down Spock, and he knows that Spock isn't. He pretty much believes that Spock isn't defecting at this point. So that's where we go.
Maybe he's just hanging out with an old buddy.
Yeah. And from there, the Enterprise goes to Kronos and tries to get a favor from Galron to get a cloak ship. Galron won't answer his calls.
He gets like the third senator of a Praetor sister-in-law or something like that.
After everything Picard did for Galron, I mean, come on, he propped him up in that government.
Although Galron was pissed off for making him go through the long form of the ceremony. Klingons don't like doing things the long way.
Klingons get tired real easily.
No foreplay.
Yeah,
just get it done.
Just get it done. Yeah, so, and finally, it was a great scene where Picard basically tells his lackey of Galron, hey, if you're not going to give me a cloaked ship, I can find someone else I can give favors to that might be an adversary to Galron. And he's like, oh. And then all of a sudden he gets, he gets right back to him. And he's like, you got a ship?
Yeah.
You can use the ship. Although the captain doesn't seem to be very helpful.
No, the captain's kind of a jerk.
So pay-to-play government happened even back then, even on a galactic scale.
I think it happens. I think it happens all the time.
Never.
I think it happens all the time.
Never ceases, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
Garon Galactic Foundation.
I love it. Like it's got his face with those really bugged eyes on it. Like,
you want to meet with Garon? Toss me some scoots.
Gotta see a little scratch before anything.
All right.
Okay, so they get the ship. LaForge, on the meantime, determines that this Ferengi vessel with the deflector array of this is from the Vulcan ship is the T'Pau.
T'Pau.
And the ship was decommissioned and sent to the Quailard 2 scrapyard, basically a junkyard for spaceships, which is a pretty cool idea.
Pretty cool idea. And super cool scene.
Oh my God, great!
Like
when you first saw, they were like, "That rocks!"
Yeah, and
and
I totally want
I've
them to
never seen so many ships in Star Trek at one time ever. What happened?
I know.
I totally want them to remake the episode now with like new technology.
Oh, wouldn't it be awesome?
Yeah, because it would be so cool with CGI.
It's so cool, very cool.
So,
I just hope we see something like that in the upcoming Discovery, and that would be nice. Now that they've got the tech to do immense things, not just having the models, and that way you can have maybe.
Well, you heard it here first, CBS.
Space.
We want a junkyard scene, and
give us a junkyard.
Give us a junkyard scene with a guy who's never seen a woman before,
or the Synthaholics are taking you down.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna come hunt you down.
It's the new lawsuit. No, please, no, don't sue us.
Yeah. So
are we allowed to say CBS? Nobody told me the rules.
Oh, no. It's not the CBS. It's just, I was referencing Axonar.
Yeah.
Right. So Picard and Data go onto the the Klingon ship with the cloaking device to go to Romulus. Meanwhile, the Enterprise goes to Quailard 2 to the scrapyard.
B plot.
Which is the B plot, which Riker is in charge of the B plot.
But before you go too much past this, that like in the cloaked ship sleeping scene.
Oh my God!
Is
great,
hysterical.
Yeah, Data's just watching him. It's like, what are you doing?
It's hysterical.
Well, no, the thing that when the Klingon takes him into and it's like you'll sleep Klingon style. He hits the bed, and I just think of the fake song for the Gangnam Style. So
Gundam Style.
But someone made a Klingon style video.
Did they really?
That's all in Klingon.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I've seen that "Kiss Me" song in Klingon, which is hilarious.
We'll watch it after the episode. I'll pull it up.
Seriously, I will be writing an article about that for the Geekiverse this week.
What he needs to see is the one of the Riker with the creature. Where we got to show him this before you leave.
Yeah, we'll pull up a couple of videos.
It's got to be the greatest. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
We put it on our Facebook a long time ago.
Yeah,
guys,
it's like over a year ago.
Oh, anyways, those things you got to bring them back every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
posted.
So he's got Klingon style bedding, which is a metal a sheet metal. Basically, you're sleeping on sheet metal. You know,
Graded sheet metal.
and Data's just staring at him while he's trying to sleep because he's
His sleep number is 11,297, which is basically steel.
yeah, right. Next is surface of the sun.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Maybe Data's actually squishy. Maybe he should lie on top of Data and get some padding.
I wonder if that would work.
That'd be softer than probably the steel he was laying on.
That might take even Star Trek's diversity a little too far.
I don't know. Q gets in bed with Picard a couple of times.
I'm using my Android as a mattress.
He doubles as a mattress, so whenever you're on a Klingon ship, he'll even cuddle you with his arms.
Mattress mode.
Captain Picard uses him as
He
a
just
mattress.
blows up.
Oh yeah, he's like that Big Hero 6 where he's a big blow up guy. Yeah.
It's got to be softer than the Klingon bed.
That's awesome.
And the Klingons walk in on them cuddling. It's like,
It's like
Data, exit mattress mode.
I thought they were gay. All right. So, anyways, so Picard can't sleep because Data's just creeping him out, and he then gets up.
Had nothing to do with the steel mattress.
No,
had everything to do with his friend the android looking over his shoulder.
So, but then he finds out right then he reads something. He reads his Facebook post that Sarek has died. So
Now I've got to tell Spock about how his dad.
That was
Your dad
Spacebook, not Facebook.
oh yeah, Spacebook.
Spacebook.
Oh, there should be that. We got to invent that. It's all.
I think we just
sci-fi.
did.
Spacebook.
Yeah, it's got to happen.
I think we just did.
I know. It's all geeks talking about Star Trek, Star Wars, and all the stupid stuff. All right.
No Flame Wars, though, please.
That sounds like my dinner table.
That's all it would be is Flame Wars. Flame Wars all the time. Like, anyways, let's not get into that. So
The rest of the episode kind of just revolves around the B plot.
well, yeah, we jump to the Enterprise is obviously into the scrapyard. They get in contact with the prickly scrapyard attendant.
Oh, he's great. And
they use Troy as kind of eye candy to get him to do his his job.
That's probably my favorite part of the first episode, where he's like to Riker, so you think by having her assist me that I'll be more willing to do what you guys want me to do
Because I
haven't seen a woman in years. You might be right.
right.
Yes, Riker knows how to get manipulate men.
He does.
He's got,
We found that out.
and he clearly hasn't slept forever because he's got 4,000 bags under his eyes.
Well, he's that weird alien race that had from the other episode, they had the finger thing, that game that he played against Data.
Oh,
Data,
right.
Data, he couldn't beat him, but Data could keep him from winning.
Yeah, I remember.
I can't remember the alien.
I don't either.
species off the top of my head.
Well, they find out.
I thought he was Packlet at first because they both have that really droopy.
They're not
face.
Packlets.
I know they're not, but they're smarter than Packlet, obviously. But I mean, they both got the droopy face that the kind of the Packlets have.
Right. So
That's the future of Nancy Pelosi's family right there. She's got those baggy eyes.
baggy
too.
eyes,
Oh,
bureaucratic. So we get. They find out that the Tripoli, which was supposed to be there, that they were beaming certain objects onto that ship, was a decommissioned ship, is missing. So the Enterprise goes and kind of hangs out and turns off all its power systems. Kind of plays
Junk.
plays possum. Plays junk. Oh yeah, plays junk. Very
Plays
nice.
junk. They're in the junkyard.
I was thinking the junk between your legs, but that's just where I went. Sorry.
You would.
Most, if you say junk, I think penis.
But we were talking about a junkyard.
He's institutionalized my brain.
Yes, blame it on me.
I will, and I do. All right. So they play junk, and a small vessel that has is strongly armed. I guess their armaments match the Enterprise.
Somehow, this small little random ship.
It's pretty crazy.
Just filled with weapons, though.
Right. So
It's an engine and weapons.
Riker just wants to get their attention and tell them knock it off, and he just hits them with a light beam, and then the ship blows up. So they kind of lose that trail.
Speaking of, remember Josh's email to us about how Riker only fires once? This is why Riker only fires once. Like, it happened before! And then as soon as he can't kill things in one shot, he's like, gives up.
Right, exactly. So the ship explodes, and then they have to kind of like now piece together that thread of what that ship was doing and where it was going and all that junk. So.
The B plot still doesn't even wrap up at all.
Well, we'll get back into that.
Even in the second episode, it doesn't really wrap up.
We'll get back into that. But back to Data and Picard, they get themselves to made up to look like Romulans. They go down to Romulus, and they basically hunt down the picture where it was taken and where they think the Proconsul's office might be, and they're hanging out there, and they're at a restaurant, which the service is pretty lousy, if you ask me. The ladies.
Hey, that's the best Romulan service has to offer.
Yeah.
It was like a Romulan Waffle House.
It was worse than that. Like, why are you here?
I mean, it was clean.
I want waffles. Why?
It was cleaner than a Waffle House.
It is cleaner than a Waffle House. I'll give you that.
But the service was about the same as a Waffle House.
It's like, why are you here? Like, I don't know. Why are you in business?
They get arrested, and they're like,
oh shit, that didn't go.
Taken down to the Romulan underground.
Oh, here we're gonna get molested by the Romulans.
Nope, just Spock.
Just Spock.
And she would have kicked their asses too.
Yeah, she was pretty nasty. She was quite the woman.
Well, that forehead ridge of hers.
Anyways, so and this is where we get the reveal that that Spock's down in the cave, and that's where the end of
the first part.
Then we get into the next episode. It picks up straight from there. Picard basically is asking Spock, "Why the hell are you here?"
Spock asks him the same question.
Yeah, and he feels like he doesn't have to explain himself to him. And Picard kind of gives the whole cowboy diplomacy is not tolerated with the Federation.
I've only done it for 60 years, Picard.
I've been doing my whole life.
Old Vulcan new tricks.
I've been doing it my whole life. And then he tells Spock as well that his father has died, and he asks Picard to walk with him.
And then he tells him the entire plot of Star Trek VI.
Right there.
Right, that's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah, he does.
They hadn't even written Star Trek VI yet.
It's just a glimmer in the eyes of... Anyways, yeah, he does kind of go over the plot of Star Trek VI. And basically Spock explains the whole plot of why he's there, is that there has been...
he doesn't want to get other people in trouble, make them feel bad like he did with Kirk.
Right, but there's been a strong undercurrent for many generations for reunifications between the Vulcan and the Romulan people.
Also doesn't feel like busting anyone else out of Rura Penthe.
Yeah, exactly.
Once was enough.
That was way too much work. Way too much work.
He saw a lot of Viridian patches.
Nicely done.
They only made one. I used it on Kirk.
It was so hard to make. Martia stole it, and then she was evaporated. Anyway, and then he makes the quip that Picard reminds him of Kirk. So
I'm in good company then.
Good company. All right, so Data goes back to the Klingon ship and gets assistance by
from the Klingon computer.
Klingon computer, which has got to be like working with like the most basic
punch cards,
the basic DOS. I was going to say, but probably punch cards.
Klingon ships run on punch cards.
It was the TRS-80 of the.
Their screens have two colors: orange and other orange.
Can't make out that orange from the other.
Right,
orange.
they have the orange screen of death, not the blue screen of death. Like,
I mean, like old computers, you got like the black with the orange screen.
Yeah.
But the Klingons is just orange and more orange.
Right. So, anyways, he figures out he can go on the Romulan Central Information Net, and he can transmit.
And he can share anything with the Klingons, which is the only thing that lets the Klingons agree to let them use his punch card machine.
I like how he licks his lip like, that'd be good for my career.
What kind of Romulan secrets can I steal?
But first, a game of Pong.
Anyway, so back on Romulus, Picard and Spock are sitting at the table, and they're getting that great service from the Waffle House.
I feel like it's not safe to speak in public. Then why are you in public speaking?
Right. This young Romulan boy, which I think has to be a spy, because he keeps on bringing him all this like
Flowers.
Well,
little pieces of Vulcan culture.
I don't know why I thought about this, but at the same time, I thought about
just a Spock fanboy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like notice that every time before he shows up, then Pardek shows up right after that. So.
And Pardek, isn't such a great guy after all. But the thing is, like this episode more than any other irks me the most with the Romulan facial makeup. Because Romulans never had foreheads in TOS.
I know.
Spock doesn't have a forehead. How does he not stick out? Is everyone just blind to his lack of forehead? Like, there's no reason to give Romulans foreheads, and this episode makes it even worse.
I didn't understand the forehead thing, too, and I want to talk about that further down. Like,
after we do the...
Yeah, I want to drill down on the Romulan in Vulcan split and how they could have evolved with the foreheads. But
sure.
Only if we get to talk about those cool shoulder pads they'll wear.
Those are...
You mean the couches they wear?
Those are mistakes. Those are mistakes.
That's a costume designer that should never have worked together.
No.
At least not in the costume design industry.
Now I know. Now he's
staging houses for real estate sales or something like that was.
Well, at least it wasn't the TV version of Dune where all the costumes clashed with each other.
Yeah, right. Okay, so they get the message that the Pro Council wants to meet with Spock,
and it goes really, really well, overly well. And Spock comes back to Picard. And he's like, "Yeah,
this goes a little too well.
Something must be up."
All right, let's just jump back. This is the part where I don't get how the string comes together. Riker goes to a bar in Quaylar 2.
That's the best.
No, I love this. I love the four-armed performer, the lady there.
But it's like he's going in like all like, and because he knows it's a woman, he's got to go meet. Right. He goes in by himself because it's a woman. I can handle this. Because I'm Riker.
It's like, oh my god,
she's got this weird.
And the best part is they picked a song where they needed 6 hands to play.
Yeah. She's got 4 hands. Riker's like meow, and then she's got a vagina for a nose. Meow. So Riker's all about this.
Now let's play 6-handed chopsticks.
Anyway, so. This is where I like. So he basically finds out from her that there's a Ferengi that comes in that might know something about that ship that was destroyed. Yeah. And the ship that was destroyed was her ex-husband. Is that?
Yeah. He just killed her husband. So
ex-husband, right? And
ex-husband.
Yeah.
She definitely makes a joke about, well, you just killed my ex-husband, so you're not all bad.
You're doing me kind of a favor. Don't have to deal with his crap no more.
Right.
I love how Riker...
I used to have a nose.
Now it's a weird black hole.
Maybe in this society she had to pay like alimony or something like that. So.
Maybe, yeah.
Which of her 4 pockets did she keep in?
Yeah, right.
Well, I like how Riker goes back up to the ship, and the next time you see this bar, it's Worf on there.
Worf's down there.
This is the first time Worf ever shows his interest for Klingon opera.
Yes.
And like he starts singing way off key. It's amazing.
It's so bizarre, and how they're only saying the 2 names over and over again. Was it Maylor? Oh god, I'll find it here. It's somewhere. Anyways, but
the walls came down.
Atu and Melota. Yeah,
it was really awkward,
and it was so weird. So, anyways, the Ferengi shows up and
with a girl with like the hair from like that guy from Babylon 5.
Oh yeah, she did.
She had the Babylon 5 guy hair. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's been like ages since I've seen Babylon 5. But you know what I'm talking about. I've seen Babylon 5 and the guy with like the fan hair.
Yes.
Do you know his name?
I don't.
Nobody knows his name.
Mr. Garibaldi. That's all.
I know Garibaldi, and then Jakar was the alien that the fan hair guy didn't like, but I can't remember the fan hair.
But he would always the guy with the fan hair would always, when he showed up and Garibaldi was there, he goes, Mr. Garibaldi. He was like he's sort of like a vampire.
He was almost like Quarkish.
Yeah, he was. Anyways. We'll have to start. We'll have to start a Babylon 5 podcast.
Babylon 5 podcast.
We'll
call it Babylon
5 listeners.
Yes, for each of the 5 Babylons.
Nobody will be there. There's just like tumbleweed going by as we speak. Anyway, so they get the information from the fat Ferengi that
Riker comes down like fisticuffs the guy after he dumps his giant.
Oh, it was great. I love
way to deal with Ferengi.
Oh yeah, you gotta kick over.
You have to intimidate them.
Yeah, throw the fish on their lap.
Don't use a knife because you might fall on it and kill yourself.
Yeah, so he finds out that the Ferengi tells him that he was delivered the Vulcan ship to a Balorian freighter near the Galoran core. And, so that's basically it.
Basically. Like, this B-plot doesn't even pay off, because even at the end, when they're scanning the 3 ships, they're like, I don't know if one of these is that one. So,
right,
like, the whole B-plot is for naught, pretty much.
But they were basically stealing parts of the ships that were to make those 3 ships.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into more as time goes on. So anyways, back on they met with the proconsul. It seemed like the meeting went way too well. They kind of tell them that there's going to be another meeting and that they want to make the proconsul wants to make a announcement at like 1400 hours that there's going to be talks about a reunification.
But we find out Seela's involved, and Seela's like manipulating the guy who made the meeting go all too well, and then
right. So we get Seela comes back as Denise Crosby shows up again in her
last appearance.
Yeah, I didn't get that whole thing.
That she showed up again.
Yeah, that it was
that she was behind it, like that.
Right.
Like her whole plot of like taking over like Vulcan and like entrenching themselves in Vulcan, like on the planet. Like
it seems. Well, let's get into that a little bit later. After because we're just about wrapping it up here. So, obviously, she's got a whole plan that Spock's going to make this speech. Spock says, "I'm just not going to give the speech."
Okay, we'll give it to hologram Spock. Here we go, hologram Spock.
Yeah,
and it's like,
who was even more awkward than actual Spock?
Yeah, right.
Nobody would have noticed the difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, we're not buying that. But. Between Data and Spock and Picard, of course, the guards leave the room, which is always a great idea.
They come up with a hologram trick for when they come back in to surprise them.
With Riker with flat hair. And
which was funny.
It was funny. It's like, stay right there.
It was a funny little detail.
Stay right there.
It was
because even I saw it. Even I saw it. I was like, his hair looks weird.
The photographic memory android didn't get the picture right.
Right. Yeah. And from there they get rid of Seela and her guards, and he makes a speech.
It must have been one of the friend tagged pictures from Spacebook that he pulled up, not like a good picture.
Oh, right.
Because the tagged pictures are always horrible, but like your perfect selfies are.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hello, I'm ready for my photo shoot. Well, then we get so Spock gives a speech basically warning that this is an invasion force. And across the border comes 3 Vulcan ships. Enterprise goes to intercept. There's a warboard shows up.
It decloaks, destroys the 3 ships once they're caught red-handed. Like, what, 20,000 troops are just killed instantaneously by this warbird?
2,000 troops.
Oh, 2,000, okay.
A measly 2,000 troops. I'm going to talk about that. They
probably had more on the warbird, though.
Maybe, possibly. And then finally, they run down back into some unknown parts of the caves. There must be caves everywhere in Romulus.
It's a giant cave.
Giant cave.
Where do you think Picard's clone was hanging out?
I guess for all that time, yeah. And
that's why he was so pissed. He was working in the caves and mining out.
Right next to him. I was like, I know that guy. So
Shinzon,
and he grew up to be Bane. So Spock decides he's going to stay. He's going to stay, keep with the reunification, which is, I got to say, is a pretty ballsy move. Just to Spock say, I'm sticking out here.
Oh, yeah. My best friend betrayed me. My friend of 80 years has betrayed me.
Yeah. But I'm going to make this work.
I'm going to stay. Here.
We're going to make this work.
But before, Picard's like, do you want to know what your dad thought of you for realsies? And then Spock touches his face intimately, and
then he yells,
over.
"No!" No, that didn't happen. But anyways, and he gets sort of the his father's mental whatever remnants that were still in Picard that he could read from that. So, and then the episode ends. And then
Picard's had so many things done to his brain with mind belts and stuff like that.
Right.
Like the NFL would never let him play again, and they have pretty loose rules and that crap.
Exactly,
you know what
exactly,
I mean?
He's gotten assimilated.
Right. Somebody runs over your head with a steamroller.
Right.
You got to go to the locker room and see how many fingers.
Right.
And they would never let him play.
No.
He did the inner light.
He did inner light. He was playing the flute. Yeah.
He had like all of Sarek's rage and hate and
became a Borg.
Put him
Locutus. Yeah.
Did the Borg thing.
So the episode ends after the mind meld, and Michael Mechanic's Living Years plays right afterwards. So, and there we have the episode's over.
So, Pete, why is this a favorite of yours?
I'm a big fan of 1990s politics, first of all, and there was a lot of that.
Interesting.
You know, I mean, it's I was already out of college then.
Okay.
You know, like I was in my real world at that point in time. So I was.
You were engaged. You were.
No, I was married by the time this episode.
No, I meant engaged in the world.
Yeah, I had children already by the time this came out. But yes, I was engaged in the world as
you were not some young kid going
no.
Cool.
I was
like me.
I was still dumb and idealistic at that point in time.
Okay, gotcha.
But
less grumpy.
I was
less grumpy.
Less grumpy, definitely less grumpy.
Yeah, right.
You know, so there's the whole reunification. There's been talks of reunification for at that point in time, Germany reunified because the Berlin Wall came down.
Right.
There's, still talks today of the Koreas reunifying at some point in time. So that kind
Vietnam.
that was interesting to me, and the whole Spock diplomacy thing was the backdoor channels is what he was doing. So I thought that was cool. And like I said, I think I said earlier, or I said it beforehand, is I'm a sucker for the crossovers. Like am I allowed to skip properties here and talk about something else real quick?
You can talk about anything you want.
I hope that as the MCU develops here and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans move on to different things, that they don't necessarily recast, but they pass the torch to the new Avengers and stuff like that. So I like that where there's continuity and stuff.
Yeah.
And to have Spock in the Next Generation universe.
Right.
I like that because those universes. I'm so interested to see what they do with Discovery. Mm-hmm. Because it's falling 10 years before Kirk. So
it's really weird. I'm still like, huh?
Well, it gives them Archer to talk about, if they want, and it gives them Kirk because those people were around.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a young Kirk.
That stuff is all possible. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm loving what's going on CW right now with the 4-show. They're building towards this 4-show crossover. I dig that crap.
Right, yeah, it's fun. Definitely fun stuff.
And I hope Star Trek does that with multiple shows. So they can have lots of crossover stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's any time that kind of happens, I'm
because that's the one thing that Star Trek is missing in all 700 something episodes is a sense of Starfleet being an actual fleet. We don't really get that sense in much of Star Trek. It's usually just the Enterprise or it's Voyager. Voyager's out in Delta Quadrant by itself. Like Deep Space Nine's sitting on the border of a war zone, not anywhere near. It's everything's so isolated in Star Trek. Starfleet, where's the fleet?
Yeah,
let's see fleet action.
We do see it. You see it.
A couple times. The previous Sela episode.
Anytime the Borg are there, they wipe out 11.
Yeah, all the ships,
starships, gone. You know what they need though when they do that? More junkyard scenes.
More junkyard scenes. Just give us junkyard scenes. We don't care about anything else.
Well, speaking of Best of Both Worlds and the
easy
Borg,
to please, Aaron.
When they're flying through some of the crap in the junkyard, they actually recycled a scene from Best of Both Worlds Part 2, the aftermath of Wolf 457.
Oh, right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dave, watching this, what was your thoughts revisiting this episodes, or these 2 episodes.
It's always fun to go back and rewatch the two-parter, especially when they have, like, old classic actors like Mark Leonard or Leonard Nimoy in them. And like I said, I think, the B-plot's totally worthless except for the funny parts that happen with, like, Picard and not Picard, but with Riker.
You could have taken the B-plot almost completely out, and you would have got one episode.
Yeah, it could have easily just been one episode if you just focused on, Spock, Picard, and Data.
The B-plot totally almost could. I mean, I like the B-plot.
It was only, like, comic relief. Like,
well, we got the Quaylar 2 scrapyard, which is great.
Which is cool.
You got the bureaucrat, whatever his name was, that ran it. You got the great forearm.
The forearm piano player.
Lots of weird, but it's like lots of awkward-ish comic relief. That's all the
No, it's I liked it. I mean, but you're right. It didn't need to be there.
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's enjoyable. It's fun to watch, and like I said,
they just didn't flesh it out.
It's kind of comic relief.
It's fluff,
right?
That part.
It's a 2-part episode that really didn't need to be a 2-part episode. Like, those could have been 2 separate episodes, like them finding some junk and finding some kind of like junkyard thing.
But part of it was the suspense of episode 1 was getting to
to Spock,
right, getting to Spock. So you can't really make it a 1-part episode,
right?
Because that suspense of figuring out where Spock is and what he's doing was important to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it was what it was, and I'm never wanting for less.
Yeah, no,
Trek,
yeah, no.
But I agree with you.
When you take the script apart, that's the part that I'm like, But
and it had no payoff at the end either. Like Geordi couldn't identify the ship that was taken.
Those were the ships. Or parts of those ships were.
It was just like, oh, okay. Well, like if you would have said yes, that is for sure one of them. Like, okay, it pays off. But he's like, nope, I don't know.
Right.
So there was still no payoff at the end other than the weird comic relief.
My big thing was rewatching it. I agree with that. The B plot, it was like kind of meandering, but I did enjoy it. The invasion force to Vulcan seemed like 2,000 troops to take over Vulcan seems like not enough.
But they had 3 ships that were made up of Lego parts from a junkyard.
Yeah, I know. Those weren't going to get destroyed.
It was certain to be successful.
I like how you didn't get a good look at the Vulcan ships.
Right.
So, like, you couldn't really, like, pick apart... Because that's the thing that was most interesting to me, I think, about the episode. Because after seeing Enterprise and it being fresh in my head and how Vulcan ships are, like, circles with, like, a big beam through them.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, I wonder what the Vulcan ships look like in TNG. And they sort of had that, like, weird, like, round part and maybe something coming out the front of it.
Right, we didn't get it.
Where it's like an enclosed cone with something sticking out. So it sort of had a similar design aesthetic, but you couldn't get a good look at it. So.
Right. It looked like the Warbird without the Romulan Warbird without anything fancy. It looked like a really dumbed down version of it to me. But it just seemed to me...
the Ford Focus of starships.
It's the worst. It was the...
Yugo?
Yeah.
Are you guys old enough to know the Yugo?
Yeah, I know the Yugo. Yeah, I remember the Yugo.
I'm not.
The 2,000 troops, I mean, even if, of course...
Well, there was probably a couple cloaked ships. Like the 3 ships were just like...
Okay, but...
Like the peace envoy. They probably... I mean, the Romulan warbirds are huge.
I know they are.
Even compared to the Enterprise.
The Enterprise, they're bigger than the Enterprise.
Way bigger.
Yeah, no.
There's probably 2 or 3 of those things cloaked, full with other people, too. They just killed, like, their...
Yeah, but they got the whole camp...
They killed their grunts.
The face of the
okay, but...
They just killed the 3
But
grunts.
the Romulan warbirds have the big front nose, and then the 2 hollowed out, like, bottom wings, and then the 2 nacelles on the sides. So they're not really much in the middle.
Well, there's not, but I mean, like, it's the top and bottom are got to be at least 2 or 3 stories, and they're long.
So you're just going to pack the troops in there.
Yeah, just pack them in.
Pack them in.
I mean, Romulan ships aren't really designed for comfort. The couple of times we've seen them, they're really, really awful looking on the inside.
Well,
they're like a step above Klingon.
Like a Yugo.
Like a Yugo.
Not designed for comfort, no.
Not at all. It's complete necessity.
Like whenever Deanna Troi woke up inside the... whenever she woke up inside the cargo compartment when she was disguised as Romulan.
Who did that?
Deanna Troi. She got disguised as Romulan in one episode. And, like, she woke up in the cargo container because, like, someone had to wake her up and brief her on, like, what was going on. Because apparently she had no consent.
Okay.
I don't know what was happening.
But that just being said, it just seems like an invasion force of that little, even if you did have maybe an extra 1,000 troops in those, it just didn't seem like enough. I don't know. The whole thing seemed a little ridiculous. And Vulcan.
Unless they're like the Spetsnaz of,
I mean, but
the Romulan troops.
But the Vulcans are, the planet itself is one of the, principal planets of the Federation. So, like, there's got to be just Federation ships just hanging out. It's like, it just logistically didn't make a lot of sense.
Although, every time there's an emergency on Earth, there's no Federation ships.
It's always...
Except for the Enterprise, even though there's Utopia Planitia around Mars.
Yeah.
Or Jupiter, or whatever it is.
Right.
Like...
and then, just lastly, obviously, the other side of it is the unification of Spock and Sarek. I think was just the biggest undercurrent of the whole thing. Obviously,
sure.
They never saw eye to eye. Only we got at the very end of Star Trek 3 where Sarek kind of said that, I didn't like that you joined Starfleet, but now I can see why you did that.
Mm-hmm. It's good to see that.
Or Star Trek 4, not 3.
It's just good to see that father and son disagreement is universal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what planet, what galaxy. It doesn't matter what it is. Fathers want to.
It doesn't matter how logical you are either, apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird because you'd think because of the logic they would have taken the emotion out of it, but obviously it didn't.
And
is it even possible to not get along with your kid when you have no emotion? Because it's. Do you have a kid?
I have a kid. I have 2 kids, but I have a son.
And how old?
My son's 8.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mine's 23.
Yeah. So it got to be a different dynamic.
He and I have those Spock Sarek moments all the time. Lacking in logic.
Illogical.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, like, I never understood, like, why Sarek had such a downer on Spock. I mean, like, your oldest son that we know of is freaking like a hippie, a super emotional guy.
Sarek as a dad, your kids are almost failures completely. Right. I mean,
so like you're like, why are you mad at Spock all the time when like when really like at least he's trying to be a good Vulcan, even though he's half human. He's trying to be a good Vulcan, and your son who's full Vulcan is trying to be a freaking hippie.
Right, he's living in the Colorado of the galaxy.
Yeah, he rode his horse all the way to Nimbus 3. Because he needs a starship, right? So
he's listening to the hippie music.
What's Vulcan Cheetos?
Yeah.
Pung Faros.
But they got. But the Spock left the Kolnar for to go back to help him with the V'ger problem.
Oh no, he failed the Kolnar.
He just walked away.
Yeah, no, but he walked away because he's like, yeah, you didn't pass. So I was like, okay, I guess we'll go now.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, if he would have won, he would have walked away anyway. It's
He didn't. He always seems like he kind of like he respects it, his blood and his heritage, but he's never like quite like it doesn't really define me. Some people let their heritage define them. I'm
Chakotay.
Yeah, I am this, and I'm always this.
I'm far away from the boners of my father.
The boners.
That was a good example. He didn't even think about Chakotay.
He does not love Chakotay.
I don't love much about Voyager, but
I actually liked Voyager better than DS9.
Oh, I did. There's going to be a rumble in the jungle.
I did. I liked it better.
A geek fight!
We're going to have you back on that one. Well, anyways, but he doesn't let that define him. But still, this thing is that I thought that was kind of touching at the end. He got to maybe get the reflections or the final thoughts or whatever he had from Sarek before Picard left. So, I don't know what
it's a touching episode. It's very well done, and this being like mid 4th season Star Trek of Next Generation, they are in their stride. Like this show's just got better and better and better. Like 3rd season, 4th season, 5th season, 6th season, 7th season, they started to kind of lose their way a little bit.
Right. No, but
it was all uphill at this point.
Yeah,
so
great,
fantastic episodes.
Both episodes rated really well on IMDb. It was like an 8.3 and an 8.4, or an 8.2 and an 8.3 or something, which is pretty high. Praise coming from IMDb.
Right. No, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed revisiting this, and I hadn't thought about this episode in a long time. Let's talk about, and I know we've touched on this here and there over the years, but the Romulan Vulcan
facial features.
Well, not just the facial features, but so during the time of Surak, there was a division with the Vulcan people, and they decided to split off. And
which I think their reference was like 300 or 400 years ago. So like,
well, from what I remember,
200 years before Enterprise.
I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was like about 2,000 years. But it still
in
does
the episode
not.
They said hundreds, though.
It could have been. I could be wrong about my facts on there, but that is not long enough time for evolutionary change to take place so significantly. It just doesn't. It can't physically happen. So why the hell did they throw the head nodules or whatever foreheads on them?
It baffles the mind. Like in this episode especially, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. How come nobody recognizes Spock as a Vulcan? I mean, the whole point is they have a common ancestry. They lived on the same planet. They split and they went their separate ways.
Unless there was some environmental reason that something changed them physically, which I can't even imagine what it would be on the planet Romulus that they left, but it seems bizarre.
Maybe they bred with the Remans, I think, and they got
very good. Yeah, that's
maybe
very possible.
But the Remans are so ugly. Like there was lots of like weird alien rape happening. Yeah, it's like I don't
maybe the Remans were just raping the Vulcans.
I think more likely it's because the internet was not there to correct them.
Well, usually,
I mean, you had to do something so that when people are walking down the street, you know what I mean? They're like, that's a Romulan, that's a Vulcan. You have to do something like that.
Right. But they didn't,
and it could have been just a cultural thing. Like they all could have,
maybe
like
it was
the
just
Romulans less logical. They all could have just was like, hey, we should get perms. Right. So it could be that. But they decided to go with forehead ridges instead.
Right. Well, maybe they took a book out of the Klingons thing. It's like maybe they
tried
just wanted to look so different.
No,
not the augment thing. But maybe once the Klingons lost their thing and the head reconstruction got really popular back in the Enterprise era. Maybe one of those Klingon guys hung out.
I just don't.
And started giving Romulans forehead
This is like us talking about the Phantom Menace and all this stuff. Like maybe they should have written it in. I mean, you're getting paid how much money to write these things and direct them? Come on, let's put our brains on a little bit.
Not as much in 1991 as they're getting paid in 2016.
Well,
still a steady job.
Yeah.
It was still a steady job.
All right.
Yeah.
Just because we're a bunch of podcasters and we're jealous of that.
I am extremely
totally jealous of that. But
yeah.
Money, real money. Something I've never seen in my life.
Sometimes we get caught up. My what you guys don't know about me is my degree is actually in scenic design for the theater.
Okay.
I worked in theater for a long time. When I got out of college, I worked in it professionally before I became a teacher, where I taught theater and produced shows and stuff. And sometimes you try to make a visual statement,
right?
And it you don't think about big picture.
Okay.
And that is probably 100% what happened. Is they needed a way to differentiate between the two.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, Star Trek is so big. I mean,
and that's a problem. That's a problem.
The fan base. So and the fan base has always been so big on the details. It's
rabid.
You would have thought that no, we can't change the way the Romulans look. I mean, the Klingons made sense, but because you only saw them 3 times. I guess you only saw the Romulans twice.
Yeah,
TOS
in TOS only 2 times. Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. But their whole backstory is that they're related to Vulcans, and giving them foreheads just it doesn't make sense, especially in this episode
right.
where Spock's walking around on Romulus
and
he's the only one that doesn't have a weird forehead, that doesn't have a perma
and nobody says anything about it. Yeah.
It's just it's like this. Why don't they point it out, or B, maybe they don't even have the ridges. Maybe they're only there for the viewer to see.
And this is the first time we get to see.
You're onto something, dude.
Is this the first time we get to see Romulus? I don't think we get to see it before that.
This is the first time we see Romulans. I think Romulus, and I think the next time we see it's Nemesis, and then Enterprise. Enterprise, we get a big shot. A lot of Has anybody ever bothered that Romulus and Remus are the brothers that found Rome? No.
You're all right with that. That they just stole that.
No, I'm disturbed by it.
Yeah, you're just like, couldn't you come up with
Tell us how disturbed are you? What,
I mean,
does it keep you up at night?
You couldn't come up with anything else. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole point of the Romulans, they were based on Roman culture. So I mean, that's
I'm cool with that. And you can do your own.
It's a little bit on the nose.
They do a great job too, for the most part, in the whole Star Trek franchise of coming up with good names.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love is when you bump into other starships and seeing what they name them.
Right.
And a lot of them are
Agamemnon.
The
crazy horse.
And then every once in a while they'll throw in like the Tokyo.
Yeah.
Just to show that we're not just,
we're all not just Western civilization.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they use names of people who are
famous
in the Star Trek universe too. Like
all the DS9 runabouts are named after rivers.
Yeah.
Rio Grande. Second. I can't remember the other names of this.
I think that's cool. Romulus always bothered me.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense. I mean, Klingon homeworld. It doesn't even remotely sound like anything that could be,
It sounds like a timekeeping software.
It does seem like, but
they stole that from Star Trek, not the other way around.
Yeah,
but
although Kronos wasn't actually officially called Kronos until TNG.
Another thing,
I don't think they ever mentioned the name of the Klingon homeworld in TOS.
Never in TOS.
And they probably just called it the Klingon homeworld or.
Never. It was not mentioned.
I don't think that,
It was TNG it was mentioned. The other thing is, the other thought was that we have basically a Roman society, which is, they have the Senate, they have the proconsul, they have, prefect? I forgot.
Yeah.
There, basically, before there was Caesar, the emperor of Rome, there were two leaders for Rome. There was, they would kind of like, cross-check
rule
each other.
The Senate. Yeah.
And so you
so like George Bush and Dick Cheney?
Yeah, sort of like that.
They just kind of
sort of
shoot
like
people in the face.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But usually there were two different...
Instead of stabbing them in the back.
No, but it would be more like...
Shoot them in the face.
No, it'd be... shoot them in the face.
With a shotgun.
But it would be like electing a Trump and a Clinton, and they're both diametrically opposed on things, and they would have to work things out.
That would be good. Let's get them both in there. So
I think that would be world. I think our country would completely fall apart. But anyways, let's not get into that. We did that last time.
2 times ago. Actually.
2 times ago.
Shaking my head.
But
the beauties of audio.
It's election day, guys. Go vote.
Oh yeah, this will be out on election day.
So
have so much fun, guys.
Yes, please vote. Don't be a dumbass. Vote. Anyways, let's go. But the thing is that the whole planet seems like this veil of suspicion. Like, I mean, the Waffle House, they're like, why are you here? I mean, if your question is like,
why'd you bring that flower in here?
The Midwest now is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's like, don't you think it would that government would give you a better open society, that people are voting for the Senate, the senators and stuff like that, that there would be a different dynamic? And now it's everyone's very suspicious of each other. I don't know. I thought that was odd too.
Well, maybe they'll be thrown to the gladiator cage if they say different views. That's out of the popular opinion of the Senate.
Yeah,
it is based on Rome after all. There's got to be gladiators somewhere on Romulus.
No, we have gladiators now. We just call them the NFL.
That's true. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
It's never.
But the object isn't necessarily to kill someone when you're playing football.
Well, figuratively.
Well, we have cage fights and stuff like that. I mean,
UFC. No, but I mean, it's even bigger than the Coliseum because we've got internet streaming stuff.
If it was legal for them to kill someone on TV, they would do it.
Absolutely,
it would happen.
That's why that theme comes back all the time, like the Running Man. And
I guarantee there'd be a Running Man show.
The Condemned.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the island with Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff? It's just that's why that theme comes back over and over again. So
I guarantee that would be a thing.
If we could get away with it, we would.
Yeah. There wouldn't be people.
It's probably why Star Trek just goes away every once in a while, because there's not enough blood.
I agree.
Although, with Brian Fuller running it, and with Brian Fuller having done Hannibal, I mean, I'm expecting lots of blood in Star Trek Discovery.
Could be.
Because Brian, I mean, like, he pushed the limits for like violence on television with Hannibal, like network television.
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I mean, I'm not saying it'll be on every episode, but I'm like, I'd love to see a Klingon like actually go nuts.
Little,
and like, you know,
little darker version.
Yeah, and not like, you know, like the whole episode where Jadzia runs out with the 3 Klingons to kill the albino. Like, he puts a whole bat left around a guy's neck, slits his throat, and there's no blood. The bat left's totally clean. It's just
It was more like them.
That's a little bit overkill.
It was that whole fight scene that you're describing was more like a early 1960s Batman fighting the Riddler and his.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're all like, you know,
Absolutely.
and then do a dance at the end.
But this is like 19.
You guys don't know what you missed being as young as you are.
Oh no, I watch 1960s Batman all the time.
My TV was things like, you know, Emergency.
Emergency, I remember
and
that.
Adam 12.
I don't know, Adam.
Adam 12 was the police. You know how now there's like Chicago Fire and Chicago ER. Whatever,
Yeah.
You know those 3 Chicago shows. Adam 12 was the cop side, and it was crossover. They crossed over all the time.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I just watched Emergency. That's all I watched.
Original
like
crossovers. Those two shows took place in the same universe. Yeah, look at that.
That's so cool.
But it was always like, you know, stop. And if they didn't stop, they went, and the guy would fall down the stairs. And that was the end of it. You know? So,
Yeah, I mean, I could
a
deal
lot
with,
like early Star Trek.
Yeah.
I could deal with Star Trek being a little bit more gritty. I mean, it doesn't need to be like Game of Thrones, or it doesn't need to be on the level of Hannibal. But I'm just saying, like, with the guy who made Hannibal and the guy who's doing Star Trek, there could be a happy medium somewhere.
Are we getting off track? But
We
I
always do.
I don't know how you guys care about that. We certainly don't at the Geekiverse.
No.
Grit for grit's sake.
I don't like that.
I have troubles with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything seems to be let's make it more gritty. You know, the
I agree.
Batman movie. Like you know, if you ask me who my favorite Batman was, it's Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman.
Right, Christian Bale. It was just, you know, that whole Dark Knight thing was gritty, and then even the new James Bond with Daniel Craig, much more gritty than the old. You know, so we went.
I like those for different reasons, but we don't have to get into that. But
it doesn't have to be
But I
gritty
agree
for
with
grit's-
you on the just to be gritty.
It doesn't need to be gritty for grit's sake, but it could stand to be more realistic.
But yeah, my point is this: if you're going to do Klingons, they should be vicious killers. If you're going to do a Wolverine movie, he should be a crazy half feral human with claws for hands. I mean, it should be gritty.
Yeah, I mean those aspects. I mean, not every episode.
If you're doing Captain America, it doesn't have to be gritty.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, but like if the character
And,
or
like,
something, I think it lends itself.
any
to it.
episodes of Star Trek not dealing with Klingons don't need to be gritty, but a Klingon episode should be a little bit more than any other.
I
If
agree.
they have a Klingon-centric episode
Yeah.
or episodes in the upcoming show, they should be a little more realistic. And with Brian Fuller at the helm, I think it will be.
Be interesting to see. Is I mean, we're here talking Star Trek, so I'm just going to ask any question I want. I don't really care about your script or anything like that.
I don't have any.
I had no
just-
script. We
you know,
wing it every week.
I was going to say, if you hate me, you won't invite me back.
You're already invited back for Year of Hell Part 1 and 2.
That happens to me all the time. It's like, don't come back, dude.
I hate everybody, so it doesn't matter.
It's usually to my parents' house. But
People don't ask us.
is
back
Rick
usually.
Berman retired? Is he out of the
I hope
business?
so.
Is he? Like he
You
hasn't-
hope so?
He hasn't done anything since
Yeah.
Why?
2000.
He ran Star Trek into the ground.
But you love him for what he did for Battlestar Galactica?
Rick Berman had nothing to do with Battlestar Galactica. That was Ronald D. Moore.
Ronald D. Moore, I'm sorry.
Ronald D. Moore is not retired. Ronald D. Moore is working on.
Well, Berman was basically
Highlander. Not Highlander.
Berman wrote this.
Outlander.
Berman was the yes, he did. He was the keeper of the Star Trek.
Yeah, Flame.
Yeah, after Roddenberry died, and
Yeah.
he ran it for quite some time. Like, is he done now? Is he not? Is
I'm
is
pretty
Rod Roddenberry in charge of it now, or something? Who's
I don't know.
There is
the
no
High Overlord?
J.J. Abrams was supposed to be the Overlord of Star Trek.
I don't care. I don't like these characters. I don't like the ship.
Well, he was supposed to be, but the thing is, because the
Hey,
CBS
J.J. Abrams is here. Welcome, J.J.
Star Trek sucks. I just want to do Star Wars.
which he did. But I read
All in the same year.
I know.
You know, that's got to be the pinnacle. I had an actor once in my early directing days in high school who played Jesus and Santa Claus in the same year.
Wow.
Like that's at the end where you just like throw your hands up and you're like, I'm done.
He's going to heaven.
I'm done.
For sure.
And JJ, same thing. He could be like, yep, I did Star Trek and Star Wars.
That's. I mean,
Right?
you got to
In the same
you got to
way.
give it to him.
But yeah, I read an article saying that basically he was supposed to be the keeper of the flame, but because CBS and Paramount are separate entities now, that
There isn't a flame to keep.
there isn't, yeah, and there, because JJ wanted to do Star Trek TV shows and comics, and he wanted to do a big multiverse thing, but because he couldn't, because of he's been trying to do a TV show for years with Star Trek.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But with CBS holding the rights to the TV part of the franchise,
You know what
it
they
didn't
need?
work out, and that's part of his decision to go to do Star Wars. From what I've read, is that he didn't really have anything more to do with Star Trek because he wasn't allowed to because of the two parents holding right over Star Trek.
You know what they need?
What?
Unification.
Unification.
Nicely done.
Actually, I think I shared something that there's supposedly a deal.
Drop the mic now.
Viacom needs to. Yeah.
And Pete just walked out.
Pete's done for the night, guys. Thanks for coming.
That was Pete. I saw you post that. I don't know if there's any credence to it.
I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not, but it really needs to. If Star Trek gets back under one studio, it'll be so much better for the franchise.
Well, it'll probably be another 6 months to a year before Disney buys it.
Actually, I said that a year ago. I'm like, if
then we'll be having Cinderella and Star Wars and Star Trek crossovers. It'll be awesome.
But I mean, like Aaron, I mentioned that like a year ago, and Aaron's kind of against it. But I'm like, to me, as long as they're like consistently making stuff, I don't care who owns it.
My issue is, and I've said that before, is that Disney owning all the IPs of everything that we grew up with is something to be substantial cultural impact on us. Them owning all that, definitely, I think it kind of diminishes something. I don't know what it is.
Well, it does because Disney has a style.
Well, of course.
And some of the stuff that, like, not for nothing, I grew up with these things too.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in the 70s, and I was a big comic book guy because there wasn't 700 channels to watch.
Right, exactly.
Right? There wasn't. So I read comic books.
You read comics instead, yeah, because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, and the fact that Disney's going to own everything is absolutely going to diminish things because there's a Disney culture.
Right.
Like any big corporation, there's a culture there, and Disney's culture is a certain thing. So
I don't knock them for I don't knock them for everything they do. Don't get me wrong. It's just that
what they do very well.
Yeah,
but I just don't know that they need to be.
They don't need to own everything. But I don't think they should own Star Trek. But I just wish someone owned all of Star Trek, all of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that people. So that Star Trek could be a viable franchise and work together with the TVs and movies. Because I mean, like,
but that doesn't happen in other places. Like,
but they should. Star Trek is a property that could rival Disney with their Marvel universe. It is a property that could do that.
Right, but those crossovers, like I already told you guys, I'm a big
CW.
crossover guy.
Yeah,
and the sharing, I wrote a long piece on it because the sharing that's going on between Marvel TV and Marvel Cinema is terrible. It's not well done at all.
You don't think that?
Oh, yeah. They're purposely keeping the TV and the movies apart, which I think is
But that's not what they were supposed to do. I mean, this was the MCU. It was all supposed to be a shared universe, and all it is like these brief mentions from time to time,
or Nick Fury once a season, maybe.
Yeah, but that's it. And we haven't seen him in 2 seasons.
Yeah,
since he was like, "Hey, here's the keys to the kingdom. I'll see you around."
It's expensive,
right,
to get him on. Samuel L. Jackson's not cheap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, but that's
but most of these guys do it for the love of the game.
You would think so, but
I think they do. I
guarantee
think a lot of them do.
They make a nice chunk of change just to.
And there's so many ways to share universes.
Yeah.
Without bringing these major characters in.
Oh, I agree. And obviously Marvel's been doing that. They get away from the big actors, and I mean, obviously they make them into big actors later on, but they start off as almost nobodies.
I mean, I saw an article just on Friday that Kevin Feige, like the guy who's in charge of the MCU, doesn't even want the Netflix shows, which are the, I guess, bigger Marvel shows as opposed to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He doesn't even want them really overlapping with the Avengers either. And I'm like, really? I mean, like I thought Netflix was.
You can't really do it. You can't really do it well with those because of the way they do them.
What they should really do is that, like, if they have the Infinity Wars and if there's a big final, face off with Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, if that's where it's going, which I think it is, obviously.
Well, they've been hinting at that since Thor.
Yeah, but if they're going to go,
mostly because it's named the Infinity
Wars. Yeah, but if that's where they're going to go, what they should do is they should bring in, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and Daredevil, and just have them there. They don't have to be big parts of it, but just say like, "We're here."
It's the whole thing. It's like
and then people just freak out.
He complained about having to introduce them in the movies, and like. You don't have to introduce them in the movies. Just have them show up. That's what the TV show's for, to introduce them.
Well, one of the best crossovers, I guess crossovers, but was the Civil War when Spider-Man showed up.
Oh, that was great.
That movie was a sleeper for me and I love Captain America. But when Spider-Man showed up, I was like, all of a sudden, like, I was happy again.
And the new kid's great, too.
Yeah, no, it was great. I loved it. I didn't like that other kid, that Garfield kid. No, he could go.
Yeah, it wasn't well written.
I liked Marissa Tomei, but
and this brings up exactly to bring it back to where we were going, is that's the problem with having two people own different properties.
Right,
the Spider-Man stuff that was Spider-Man was my guy back in the day.
Awesome.
That was the one that I
grew up with. Yeah,
I'd like to dig around in things and put spiders in the microwave and then try to get them to bite me so I could turn into a superhero and stuff.
They just die. They just seem to die.
Right? And then they're all over the microwave and Mom gets mad. I'm like, no, man,
it wasn't me.
I was trying to be Spider-Man.
How do these spiders keep crawling into the microwave?
You should find bigger spiders that don't explode.
But that's what it is. I mean, you look at the X-Men, you look at the stuff that's owned by the other studios, and it's just not to the same caliber as the Marvel produced
Fantastic Four, Facepalm.
This is a problem with Star Trek too. It'd be great to get to the point where there was 2 or 3 Star Trek properties going on at the same time.
Absolutely.
So that
they would tie together.
You could have those crossover stuff. And you can't tell me it can't be done because every damn NCIS is exactly the same.
Well,
right? It's exactly the same.
So is every Law and Order. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And every CSI.
Yeah.
Right? All of those are exactly the same thing, and then they have some nice crossovers. So you could run 2 or 3. Now I understand that police procedural has a larger following than a sci-fi show,
which is just confounding to me.
And the thing is, it doesn't make any sense because all the TV police shows are exactly the same.
I know,
exactly the same.
It's like what?
So I don't even want to get into it. It makes me so mad.
Watch Star Trek, people. Oh yeah, I mean we're
obviously watch Star Trek. Yeah, obviously watch Star Trek, or you wouldn't. I don't know why you're listening to us.
They think we're charming. Hopefully.
Nah.
Yeah, it's that.
Nah. So that would be great to see if that would happen. I don't have a lot of faith in that happening.
No.
The way they've handled the property up until recently, they finally got themselves together. I mean, they finally got this show off the ground. I don't know what took them so goddamn long to do it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So,
but who knows?
Well, they were busy, fighting lawsuits with
Axanar.
with fan films and stuff like that.
They're still in Discovery. The lawsuit was announced like almost a year ago, and they're just now in Discovery. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, I guess we'll have to see what happens with Discovery when it comes out and how it works out. Obviously the CBS Direct All Access thing is just such.
I've written about that on multiple occasions. I think we talked about it when we did. It's irritating because it's the antithesis of Star Trek.
Right. You're making completely inaccessible.
Right. And quite frankly, I already pay for Netflix. I already pay for Amazon Prime.
Right. Why can't we get this?
I'm not probably going to pay another, $7-8 a month for another.
I'm going to do it just because we do this, obviously. But if it was anything else, I'd probably say no.
Well, the thing is, if they pulled Star Trek from Netflix and from Amazon Prime, then I would have to stay subscribed to All Access the entire time.
Right.
As it is now, where you can still get the rest of Star Trek elsewhere, I'll probably just subscribe to it as long as it takes me to watch the episodes and then be done with it until next year.
And the other side of it is,
and it might be one of those kind of things where you wait till they're all out.
Yeah.
Subscribe to it, and then binge watch them in a month,
and then just cancel.
And then cancel it.
Right.
Well, the plan with us is ideally we'd like to talk about a Discovery episode every other episode.
Right.
That way we are kind of at the door when it opens, and then if people haven't watched it all, they've got weeks to catch up. Doing it every other week.
Right.
So.
And the other side of it, and I've mentioned this before, is that they're going to probably get a pretty good grasp or the hands around the actual fan numbers of people who are willing to buy, obviously their subscription to see this. So that if those numbers ever get out, that would be extremely interesting to me.
Be fascinating.
Are we talking a couple 100,000 people, or
we're talking a couple 100,000 people?
But
this is a one episode, one series, one season series.
Yeah. How many viewers do we?
But that's only for the United States, because everywhere else in the world can watch it on Netflix.
Right.
So I mean,
that's
a skewed. US and Canada. But I mean, that's a skewed statistic. It's like how many people in North America watch it versus.
I'm moving to Mexico.
You'll have to climb over the wall.
Yeah, I'm going to go over that wall.
Spider-Man.
It'll probably have like ladders on this side.
Our side, yeah. We're all leaving.
Once you're over there, you're never coming back.
I know.
We'll have to do Skype more often. You'll have to figure out where the internet is.
For 20 minutes, and you'll be a rapist.
I'm going to get a job with El Chapo, and I'll be all right. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what those numbers are that they can kind of like drill down and say, okay, these are actual hardcore fans that are willing to pay whatever it is, the $8-something a month for that.
Yeah, is that going to be enough to keep Star Trek going?
No, I don't think so. I think there's going to be a one-shot deal if you ask me, but maybe they'll change their tactic. I mean, they keep changing their game, so.
They're counting on us is what they're doing.
I know they are.
They're counting on us to sell subscriptions on a subscription site, and the problem is,
and we're all like, "This is horrible. I wish they wouldn't do it."
Well, because we all want, we never want to pay for anything. Who does? I'm not saying us individually, but we're
for new things,
right? Exactly. We keep being asked to pay for things,
right?
Like those things were supposed to replace cable, but you can't replace cable,
right? Not yet,
right?
Not yet.
Like I can't get everything I want on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime, so I have to stick to cable because I like to watch sports and stuff like that.
Right, but my thing is like, exactly. But that's the thing is like you pay for cable, you pay for your Amazon, you pay for your Netflix or whatever else you subscribe to. Is like, at what point does it become a breaking point? I mean, Netflix is a great deal for the $8 a month it is.
Well, it just went to $10 a month now.
Okay, $10, but that's still a great deal for all the content you get.
Yeah.
CBS, other than Star Trek and maybe a couple other shows, what else content are you getting? You're maybe getting at most.
Well, you get all the CW shows, which are pretty good.
Okay, but you're
right. But I get those now.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to yank them off CW and put them on there and make me pay for them,
right?
Then that would be a different.
Or yank. A lot of CW shows are even on
Netflix.
On Netflix,
I thought I read they were going to start pulling them from Netflix, but that was a while ago, so I guess they didn't. So.
Well, maybe we'll see what happens when it happens. But what are we talking at most 20 shows? It's going to be on the CBS,
and half of them are in CBS.
Yeah,
Big Bang Theory.
But again, you can get all that stuff for free. So unless they're pulling it all back, they can't just have a subscription network for $8 a month where they only have Star Trek.
Right.
So they have to have some other original content on there that makes people.
I think there is. I think Star Trek was supposed to be the first, but since it got pushed back to May of next year, I think there's another show that's going to.
What's totally stupid is if they had set up a Star Trek All Access, I'd probably pay for that. But I'm irritated that it's CBS doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's just and then we find out there's going to be ads within.
That's the worst.
$9 a month or whatever, $8 a month, and I got to watch the ads too.
And then, unless you want to pay another couple bucks, then you get it with no ads. Yeah. Really? I thought the whole point of it being a paid subscription was that
they're test driving it with the wrong property. Is what they're doing because we're diehard fans.
We're grumpy.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, that is absolutely true.
Yeah. You just get yourself more and more pissed off. You think about it. Well, what are you going to do? I can't. I'm just a pawn in the game of life. So
yeah. Game of life. So you're using your chess pieces when you're playing live.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way I know.
I want to be the queen of the game of life. That way I can just skip across the board.
You are my queen in the game of life.
It's just the queen's got the best moveset in chess.
They do. Of course they do. anything else we want to touch on this while we're on Unification, Vulcans, Romulans, Spock, Nimoy?
You guys have encyclopedic knowledge of Star Trek, and I do not. And this is I often feel sort of like the odd man out at the Geekiverse too, because these guys all have encyclopedic knowledge of Star Trek I'm sorry, Star Wars and,
gotcha.
and stuff like that. So Denise Crosby playing Sela.
Sela, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you see, so in season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, she was like, "I'm bored. I should be doing so much more dramatic stuff."
Right? No, I got.
I'm going to quit.
Yeah. Bye. So,
okay, so her career tanks even worse.
Can I come back?
Yeah, can I?
We kind of killed you.
So, like, making her a blonde, so she looked just like her, was the dumbest thing ever.
Well, she's half Romulan.
Yeah, she's supposed to be
because she is her own granddaughter.
Yeah.
Oh, is that is what the case is?
Yeah, because
all right, so that's what I was talking about.
Run the whole thing.
When
down,
you have encyclopedic knowledge, there was a relationship of her playing herself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's
this is what happens when you invite stupid
Yesterday's
guests to your
Enterprise?
show.
Yesterday's Enterprise. So it's an alternate universe episode where something weird happens, and all of a sudden Tosh is alive, and there's like a war happening because the Enterprise C came through.
I definitely remember that.
Through the thing.
Enterprise C comes through.
And then Guinan's like, "You shouldn't be here, Blondie." And so she falls in love with like the first officer of this Enterprise C
with Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, and then so she goes. Is
that who it was?
It is Shooter McGavin. Yeah, you eat shit for breakfast. Let me kiss that mouth.
So they
Shooter McGavin.
So she falls in love with the first officer,
Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin. And she wants to taste all that shit in his mouth, and and so much so that she's willing to go probably get killed by Romulans because they escaped the Romulans coming through this thing, this time rift,
and they go back.
They go back
to their certain death.
to their certain death. Except she doesn't die. She gets captured by some Romulans. Romulans are like, "Wow,
a blondie,
you're a hot blonde, and we're gonna take you for space wife."
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
She has a child with the Romulan who abducts her. She tries to get Sela to run away with her back to the Federation. Sela like basically betrays her.
Because that's how Romulans are.
Yeah, gets her foot in jail. So yeah, that's why she looks like. That's why she looks
gotcha,
like.
Okay,
so she's Denise Crosby or Tasha Yar's daughter, and
not granddaughter. I said
a terrible person. Just a terrible person.
Well, this sounds like Flashpoint to me.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She goes back and has a kid that becomes her great-granddaughter who comes back again. It's basically what's going on CW right now.
Right.
But yeah, this is the last appearance of Sela. Mm-hmm. It's sad.
Yeah, is it?
Not really.
I did like how Data gave her the Vulcan nerve pinch and Spock goes, "Not bad."
Yeah.
There's a couple of those little one-liners between the two.
Like, why doesn't he ever do it ever again?
That's a very good question. If I had that,
it was like all day long.
There'd be people laying down the halls
all day long.
As I walk into the cafeteria at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Her's been here.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like
he was grumpy today.
Spock was like, "You did a good job. Not bad." So like, why doesn't Data ever do it again? I'm sure it's only season 4. There's got to be lots of opportunity for him to use it. I think it's
season 5.
Yeah, season 5. Like, in the last 2 seasons, there's got to be some kind of opportunity to use this again.
It should have showed up more than once. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, it would have been great. I mean, Data was totally throughout the whole thing the comic relief.
Yeah, he was great.
And
it was great.
That totally would have been the comic moment.
Yeah,
over and over and over again.
Yeah. That would be great.
Poker table.
If you just kept doing it, just kept doing it all the time. I did it again.
Although I do love Data playing poker. Those are also some great moments.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Sela was always like an interesting character. I just don't think the character was explained too well because it's almost like. Unless you're watching every episode.
I've seen every episode 2-3 times, and I just didn't catch that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like hard to...
It's the first time she shows up, she does this big, long exposition thing.
Right.
Because Picard's all taken back. It's like...
Well, they all were.
Just like her.
Yeah, they all were.
Well, especially Picard, though, since he's in command, So
right,
It affected him more than anybody, I think.
And Data.
Sila, want to come back to my bedroom?
I'm fully functional.
Your mother knew how functional I was.
I'm fully functional. Say it like Zap Brannigan.
That's terrible.
We typically are.
Oh, well, anyways. Data. He's shooting blanks, so. Oh, it'd been cool if they had an android baby.
I don't know. The Doctor and Voyager had a baby with someone on a planet somehow.
Doesn't make any
sense. They glossed over it very quickly, but
this never happened.
How does that happen?
This never happens.
He was a great character.
Yeah.
I love the Doctor.
He willed that child into being.
Emergency medical hologram.
Yeah, he was
emergency medical child.
He willed that child in. That child is half hologram, half human.
Oh, whatever alien,
or alien race,
whatever alien that planet that they were at. The Doctor and Seven are easily my favorite characters from, and Naomi Wildman.
Of course, the writing still doesn't make goddamn sense, but.
Nah.
Well, there's a lot of years to span there. You can keep coming up with interesting new scenarios.
I still think you're getting paid for that. You should turn your brain on a little bit, but
no, I agree.
Well, anyways,
where can we find you specifically and the Geekyverse online?
TheGeekiverse.com is our website, and from there you can get to all of our other. Like our podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes, and YouTube. I think is just youtube.com/C/the Geekiverse. I don't know where the C came from when we created the thing, but there it is. You can find me at Pete Her.
Okay.
On all social media, my Facebook page, my Twitter, and Instagram. I don't Snapchat.
I don't either. It's a point where I was like, I think I'm just
too many social medias.
Well, I'm too old for Snapchat.
I don't.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
I have a hashtag I use frequently called awkward selfie guy, and my duck face just isn't. It's not strong enough for Snapchat.
There's an age where it just becomes just unbecoming.
Yeah.
Let's see. And also, you can find the link to their YouTube page and their main page on their Synthaholics webpage under Friends of Synthaholics or Friends of the Show. So you can find them there.
There's only two.
We appreciate the cross promotion.
Absolutely.
So, it's always great to work with other people who create content. And here in Buffalo.
What's great for me is now that when we're doing Star Trek stuff on the other end, I have someone that I can call and say, "Hey, come over here and do some stuff," because these idiots here they don't appreciate good Trek.
Get it. They're
all Star Wars.
We will
fans.
be happy to provide content for Geekyverse.
They'll love to talk Star Wars with you, but
I mean, I can talk Star Wars with the best of them.
But have you tried to get them to watch like some of the classic episodes or anything or anything that's like really good? Like you're like, you gotta see this.
You know what they're a lot younger than me, and the stuff that
grabs them does not.
Right. They're all in love with the reboots.
Right.
But they all have very little
understanding or
anything previous to Chris Pine.
Gotcha.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll take new Star Trek fans any day of the week.
Sure.
And that stuff is good stuff. You know,
it is good stuff.
Like that whole new trilogy is fantastic stuff.
It's fun.
So
I just don't think it has the social commentary, political commentary that all these things did have.
Well, it's hard. It's a film.
It's a film, right?
We did have a jumping motorcycle in the last one.
That's one of Aaron's least favorite parts.
That's probably
the Evel Knievel.
When does Kirk become anybody who knows anything about Star Trek? That's everybody's least favorite part.
I'm just like, what?
Even Justin Lin, when they put out the first trailer, he was like, "What?
No,
you put that in there?
No,
because it immediately made it look like
you're like
Evel Knievel,
Fast and Furious galactic version.
Yeah.
Well, they did put in front of the trailer, which I facepalmed at Justin Lin from the creator of Fast and the Furious. Like in the front of the trailer, I'm like,
No.
Of course you're going to say that. And of course you're going to show
Anything.
the moments that are like Fast and the Furious in the trailer whenever
Anything else?
it says
Please. Yeah. Although I did
was really worried, but Justin Lin knocked it out of the park.
I did like.
Yeah, I thought it was
fantastically
I did like
directed.
Beyond. There's a couple things I wasn't crazy about, but that's just like almost any movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, very few movies you walk out and be
From a
like,
special effects standpoint, that was one of the best films ever produced.
Right.
In that one scene, we're past spoilers now, right? We can talk about things
Yeah,
because it's been out.
Oh, we've already done 2 spoilerific episodes for Star Trek Beyond.
When those ships were shredding the Enterprise,
yeah.
it was. I was on the edge of my seat for the entire.
And you felt
season.
like
heart-wrenching.
It was heart-wrenching.
It was
heart-wrenching.
painful to watch.
And it's not like I'm not used to these guys destroying their starship.
Yeah, that's
but
every
this is
other
like
movie.
picking it apart, like piece by piece.
Seriously,
Right.
they gutted it, you know, and it was so well
We've never
done.
seen the Enterprise
cinematically.
eviscerated before. We've seen it self-destruct before, but this is
Self-destruct,
eviscerated.
crash into a planet,
Yeah,
smash into a Romulan ship.
yeah, but I mean, like it was still, you know, in a lot better shape than it was in Star Trek Beyond. Star Trek Beyond, like it was like
Shredded it.
gutted.
But
like,
I did appreciate, and one of my favorite traditions in the whole Star Trek universe is that we always get that flyby when they're building the new ship.
yeah.
I didn't love it at the end of Beyond because they made it go so fast.
Yeah, that was a
If it
weird
was like- if they
editorial decision.
I wish it was slower. I would have
yeah.
loved to see the thing built in slower, fast motion.
It was
Yeah.
almost like a video. Like, why did you also a Peter Gabriel video or something like that?
It was
That's exactly
what was that?
right.
Sledgehammer,
Salisbury Hill playing in the background.
climbing up on Salisbury Hill. Yeah. So, I don't know. That was a weird choice that they made for that.
But it was still pretty to see. I enjoyed it.
No.
Sure.
I mean, I thought cinematically it
gorgeous.
was one of the best films.
It had a lot.
seen
It
a
had a
long
lot. It had a lot going for it. Like I said, Into Darkness. I liked the first half. The last half kind of fell off for me. But I liked the original reboot. So. So
Good stuff.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get a Star Trek 4 with Chris Hemsworth in it, and don't know what he's going to do in it, but hopefully it'll be cool. But
Disney by
Disney Thor. Well, all our music is provided by Warp 11. You can find them at warp11.com or Warp 11 on Twitter. You can find us online at synthaholics.com. You can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Please
Love them.
email
Email
us.
us.
Email us.
We like those.
Send me a message.
Say hi. Tell us what you had for breakfast. And if you're watching Star Trek.
Actually, if you want to pontificate about the Romulan and Vulcan rift and any thoughts on that, that'd be great to hear.
Yeah, we'd love to read that.
Love to get into anybody who wants to get in the nitty gritty and thoughts of that. So
Or any past episodes you have questions about.
there's got to be a lot of questions. So yeah, email us.
Our guest said we have encyclopedic knowledge, so it must be true.
Encyclopedic.
So it must be true. So
Too bad I don't have anything else in my
I don't even have the same knowledge of my own life that you guys have of Star Trek.
Neither do I.
What happened to you in 1978? I don't know.
What?
That was back
That
when
was that a year?
Yeah. I know back when I was growing up, I'll say that my parting shot here is that in the 70s when I was growing up, I absolutely believed that by the year 2000, Star Trek captain would be, or Starship captain would be a job I could apply
Should
for.
be.
Should be a thing. Yeah.
I'm not over the disappointment.
It's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's soul
Just
crushing.
saying. Just saying. Now I got to go right to Admiral because I'm too old to be a captain, so I got to skip over all those poor
skip over
schmucks.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
that would be.
So,
Yeah.
Well, if you want to check us out on social media, we have our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Synthaholics.
Always fun.
Join in the fun. We post funny things, silly things, and actual science sometimes.
Sometimes.
So we like to balance the fun with the realistic and
With what's really happening.
real things. You can find us on Twitter at Synthaholic Duo, myself at David_J_Duncan, Guy Davis at Black. No,
That's me.
That's you. Aaron O'Brien at Blackbird 2004, Guy Davis at GS Davis Art, Faith Hertzberg at Faith Hertzberg, and we have Patreons. Patreon. It's patreon.com/Synthaholics. If you want to support the show, if you want to support Guy Davis,
Yes.
you can support his art and his new comic, Witches of Flame, at patreon.com/GS Davis Art.
Yeah, nice. Go on iTunes. Give us a review. Come on, people. We need to know what you think of us. Give us lots of stars. Give us lots of love. If you like this show, tell people about it. Because the more people know, the more there'll be bigger audiences, and maybe we can get into...
And more people to talk with on the Facebook group.
Yeah, you're going to make more friends. Just don't be selfish.
We all need more friends.
I need a lot of friends.
If you don't have friends, you're grumpy.
I got this howl part in my body. I need more friends. And
Especially ones that love Star Trek and that can geek out with us.
Yeah, there's not enough of those out in the world.
So share the show, please. Give us stars and ratings.
And tell a
It's
friend.
starting to sound a little bit more like the Delilah show here. Than the
It is a Delilah show. You've walked into the wrong studio, Pete.
I need more friends.
I need more friends. My daughter doesn't listen to me anymore. Here's a song.
Well, thank you all so much for listening, guys. Live long and prosper.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thank you for joining us.
And we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
I gotta pull up Klingon style.
You got a what?
I want to pull up Klingon style.
Klingons. Oh,
Video.
Klingon. Yeah. And then find the Riker one.
We can all enjoy that.
Open Klingon style. Klingon style. Our rocks are the equals to Kablanchita. You like Datu, chocolate, cuckoo, get it, bunch of mouth. You roast up, look at the back, I'm not sure, I'm a rush, cut it in that Kablanchita, cool up our rush. Watch your poor Makubla. Take me shot in niche, watch your poor Makubla.
Riker?
Let's get some comments.
Open Klingon style.